You ever notice how you can post a story on Instagram or social media, and in under 30 seconds, you got people reacting. Every day, people looking at your stories. Some people don't even comment. They don't even like anything. And when you put your phone down, you suddenly feel weirdly alone, right? And here's the thing, you probably get followers, you probably get likes, you probably get people shouting you out saying, go bro, go king, go queen. But if anything hits a fan, like if you start getting depressed, stressed out about something, or if you feel overwhelmed or confused, suddenly your phone goes silent. And here's the craziest thing is that this is becoming more of the social norm right now. And the reason being is that we were fed this idea that if we stay connected to everybody, like online and everything on social media, that we will feel seen. But the reality is that visibility is not the same thing as being close with somebody. So, in this video, I just want to sit down and talk to you about like why you have no friends and like what you can actually do about it to start making real connections. Because as you get older, it actually becomes even harder to make real friends and get close to people because, life just happens. It's like you could have 1,000 followers online and still feel alone sitting at the dinner table. You can go viral, right? And still find it hard to call somebody up when your car breaks down. You could have all the attention in the world and still feel emotionally invisible. And this is becoming a growing problem now in this modern day society. It's, something that we need to address. It's important, right? For our well-being. So one of the things that I noticed and talked to about with my friends is that a lot of times you'll have all these followers and people looking at your stories and stuff every day, and you may feel like you're connected, but at the same time, you're actually being misunderstood because those people, they might like your post, they might comment on them, they may see you, right, every day when you post something, but they really don't know you, right? They don't know the real you because all they see is the different highlights of you, in the spur of moments of each day and whatever you want to show them. And it doesn't leave them with much depth or closeness when it comes to like you as a person. And if you're not careful, you'll become this person that is easy to consume online, but totally disconnected offline. We have to start realizing that, creating these deep connections and friendships actually takes more intention and involves a lot of things like being vulnerable with someone, being consistent, being honest, patient. It also involves just being present, right? And the problem is, like with social media sometimes, is that it rewards speed, but building real and true friendships, they actually grow slowly. They take time. And if you've been, spending this like time building a persona online, that's probably not really you, and you're getting used to that, it's probably going to be uncomfortable making any close friends because people they don't really see the real you. They only see what you allow them to see online, depicted in your highlights and reels on a daily basis. One other reason why you may not have no friends is because you have performance-based friendships. You probably heard about this before when somebody says that your friend or this person is here for either a reason or a season. And you might have some friends, right, that's there for you or that's drawn to you because they like the version of you at that time or that season where, you're the person that always seems like you're winning or you're funny or you're attractive and so forth. But as soon as you struggle, those friends are gone and they're not really there to support you. Then you have your friends that's actually there, the real ones that are there for the version of you when you're not at your best. They're there to comfort you and to be a listening ear or a shoulder to cry on. They also too though could be ones that are there just for a season. And when you start winning, you start getting jealous, or when you start doing good and they say that your mood is getting better, they start to get more distant and kind of drift away. So, something you have to acknowledge this, that there are going to be like two different type of friends, but you want the real ones where it doesn't matter, if you winning or if you're not, that they're going to be there for you and they're going to support you and be patient and be present so that you can actually, have someone that you can count on. Social media, it constantly trains you to perform. So people start to get used to that, right? They start getting used to you showing up, always entertaining or always showing people like what you got and how you leveling up, or this other version of you that it really seems like success and like things are going for you and going good all the time. But the reality is that it doesn't really build connection or friendships. And like I said before, people don't really get to see the real you and get close to you. So you have to start to realize, like, do these people even care about me? All these people that are scrolling through your stories and liking and commenting on your posts, like, do they really care? I bet you when you start going through some stuff, you will find out. Get older, you're going to stop wanting more followers. You're going to want to have more real connections that are genuine. You're going to want your peace, people that are loyal to you, and someone you can call on where you don't feel like you're bugging them. It's going to hit different when you get older. So, just wait and see. But like I said, we're having this conversation in this video so I can kind of help you a little bit to figure out like what to do as you start to see things change, as you start to see your friends move and do different things. One other reason why you don't have many friends is because the internet gives you so much access to people, but no intimacy. You see, what I mean by that is you can DM anybody, you can text someone, you can video chat someone and still really not have that close connection and intimacy that you would have with a real friend. And the problem is that being present is becoming more rare. Just look, when you go out in public and go to a restaurant or some kind of social gathering, just look and see how, a group of friends, how much they're actually present when they're talking to their friend. If you're constantly consuming content and consistently comparing yourself to other people, you're going to start losing the ability to even sit long enough to build that closeness with somebody. And you have to realize that real relationships are not built on just highlights of your life. Many times it consists of boring moments with your friend, long conversations, helping somebody move, being consistent, checking on somebody without needing anything. And that's why a lot of adults, they start to realize, especially as they get older, they'll look around and say, you know what, I'm surrounded by a lot of people and I know a lot of people, but yet I don't feel close to anybody. Another reason why you may not have any real friends is because you might be protecting yourself too much. Now, I'll be honest, and this is going to be uncomfortable, but to be real with you, you're probably part of the problem because you're putting people at a distance, or you feel like it's safer to keep people at a surface level friendship because it protects you and it guards your heart. Because maybe in the past you probably had, friends that betrayed you, or you maybe regretted telling a friend about something to only hear it come back around to you and slap you in the face. Or, you just may feel like it's just better not to have anybody get too close to you because you don't want your feelings hurt. And the dangerous thing about being guarded like that is that at first it starts to feel, like safer, starts to feel like protection. But then later it turns into isolation. And you can't build real friendships like that if nobody meets the real you. So at some point, if you want to build those real connections, those real friendships, you have to take risks to be seen. Because if not, how are you going to ever find the right people to be connected with? So here's what real friendship looks like. Because we want to make this practical, right? We don't just want to have this ideology of what a real friend is, but I want to break down to you from my experience what it looks like. Here's what real friendship looks like. So at first, it's not aesthetically appealing. It's not always exciting. It's not always, like you might say, content worthy, like what you see online. It may just include, somebody that's checking in on you, just to make sure you're okay. Sometimes it might be someone telling you what you don't want to hear, but you need to hear it. And there'll be some times where people just want to come sit down and, hang out with you while you're in a rough patch. All these things, they take time, of course, but finding the right ones and the real ones They're going to do this for you. Now, if you want more of this in your life, like real relationships with people, there's a number of things you can do. It's actually something I had to work on doing as I got older. I would say the first thing I would suggest is to not try to impress people. So when you meet someone, of course, you don't want to tell them like all your business and have them see the true you behind closed doors, but you also don't want to try to impress them with all the success or maybe all the good that's happening in your life, or you just want to keep it real, right? Get to know them personally. You don't have to put on this performance to win these friends over like you probably see people do on social media. Another thing I would suggest is that you try to be the friend that you are looking for in a friend. So what I mean by that is you have to see like what is it you want your friend to do for you. You can do it for them. So people that you want to get close to and eventually be around, why don't you call them and say, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee, or why don't you check in on them and make sure that they're okay without wanting anything back. Another suggestion is that you want to build some offline rituals. So the way that you can do that is, find groups in your local area. You can find it on Facebook. You can probably find it on Instagram or Eventbrite. And there's all kind of events that could be going on where you have a running club if you like to run. You also have events like game nights that you can possibly look out there. Or you may run into some people that might have a chess club. You know, I know these are some things that you may not be into, but I'm just saying that it's a lot of things out there you can try to find out and do. You have to get yourself out there if you want to meet new people and build new friendships. I know one of the things I've been noticing a lot is that people are really yearning for real connection. There's a lot of bicycle groups that they get together and they ride bikes around town. This is actually happening in my city, where this is like a bike event with a group of adults almost every single day. So there are many opportunities, but you have to go looking for it and you have to be willing to be intentional and go find those people that you can eventually build relationships with. And this is why this conversation matters, right? Because as you were young, all of us have been through this where we kind of confuse, social activities and interaction as connection and close friendships. But as you get older, you start to realize that life gets heavier, right? People they get married, people they move on and move out, they move out of state or out of city. People's work consumes them. They get distracted by all the other mundane things that happen with just daily living and adulting. And, it just gets to the point where it becomes harder and harder to build true friendships if we don't start out early enough, you know, trying to make connections with people before those seasons happen. Because trust me, it's going to happen. And, I experienced it too. I actually been the friend as well that was the one that was getting distracted or busy with work or busy with different activities that made it hard for me to connect with friends. And, you kind of regret that as you get older. You wish you would have been consistent, which is crucial in real friendships. Being consistent, being present, and, you can do it. But like I said, you have to start earlier and you have to be intentional if you want these things to come about. Now, one fact of life that I learned is that the quality of your life it really is dependent upon the quality of people around you. And this conversation is so crucial that I wish more people would have because there are a lot of lonely adults. There are a lot of lonely 20 and 30-year-olds out there that really need help. They really need to find genuine connections so that they don't feel this way. And this actually probably been studies. I'm sure you probably heard of it. People that live in these so-called blue zones where they're living longer. The main reason why they're living longer is because they have these real genuine connections and friendships. People that they can call on, people that they can trust. And, this really starts to matter as you get older. So if you've been feeling lonely lately, even though you're surrounded by a lot of people and followers, you're not the only one. A lot of modern relationships feel that way, artificial or maybe even surface level. But the good news is that you can still build those real relationships. We just have to, stop confusing visibility with intimacy and closeness. And to be honest with you, it all comes down to this. You know, having people watch your daily life. It's not the same thing as having people walk through life with you. And at some point, you have to realize that real connection is going to be built slowly. And the only way that you can change that is that it starts with you, being open to the idea that you want to build this true, genuine relationship, show up as your true self and be more present. And if any of this information connected well with you, I invite you to comment down below. Let me know which part stood out to you the most. I also would like to know too in the comments, like what is actually going on and has changed in your friendships over time. And I hope that, if you are interested in seeing more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And I would love to see you in the next video.